Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, today I want to speak to you about the most powerful force God has placed within you, your ability to think. Your life moves in the direction of your thoughts. That is one of the greatest truths you will ever discover. Every choice, every habit, every achievement, and even every failure begins first as a thought. Before you speak, you think. Before you act, you think. Before you become something, you imagine it. Thought is the seed, and your life is the harvest. You cannot sow one kind of thought and reap another kind of result. The harvest always matches the seed. When your mind is full of doubt, confusion, and fear, your steps become uncertain. You hesitate, you shrink, you settle for less than what you were created for. You look at challenges and say, I can't. You see opportunities and say, it's too hard. But when your mind is filled with faith, purpose, and clarity, your steps gain confidence. You rise each morning with a sense of direction, even if the path ahead isn't clear, because your thoughts are aligned with your vision. Your thoughts are like a compass that quietly sets the course of your life. You may not notice it day by day, but over time, you begin to move toward the dominant picture that lives in your mind. If you constantly see yourself as a victim, you'll live out that story. But if you see yourself as a victor, as someone capable of growth, change, and renewal, life begins to open up before you. The mind leads and the body follows. That's why it's not enough to wish for success, peace, or happiness. You must think in a way that makes those things possible. If you think small, you live small. If you think weak, you live weak. But if you think big, your life begins to expand in ways you never imagined. Great achievers are not necessarily born with more talent, but they train their minds to see differently. Where others see problems, they see potential. Where others see endings, they see beginnings. You are the architect of your inner world, and the blueprint is made of your thoughts. If you allow fear to draw the lines, the walls of your life will always close in on you. But if you let faith design it, you will build a life that reaches higher and stands stronger. The secret is not to fight the outer circumstances first, but to change the inner direction. The moment your thinking shifts, everything else starts to follow. Every successful life is the result of disciplined, purposeful thinking. People who rise above limitation are those who learn to control their mental focus. They don't let negative news, gossip, or temporary setbacks dictate their inner climate. They know that what they allow to dominate their thoughts will eventually dominate their life. So they choose to meditate on strength, possibility, and hope. Even when challenges come, and they always do, correct thinking keeps you steady. Instead of saying, this is the end, you begin to say, this is a lesson, this is a step forward. And as you think differently, your emotions calm, your confidence grows, and your spirit begins to see new paths where there seemed to be none. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you think about it. That is the power that separates those who merely survive from those who truly live. When you take charge of your thoughts, you take charge of your life. So guard your mind as you would guard a treasure. Feed it with truth, with hope, and with vision. Every morning, choose your thoughts with intention. Because whether you realize it or not, your life will always move in the direction of your thoughts. The mind is the factory of destiny. Everything that exists in your life right now was once manufactured in the quiet workshop of your thoughts. Before any building stands tall, an architect first sees it in his imagination. Before any invention changes the world, it is born as an invisible idea in someone's mind. The same is true for your own life. Whatever you hold in your thoughts, nurture with emotion, and repeat with belief will eventually take shape in your reality. Your mind produces thoughts the way a factory produces goods. Each thought is like a piece on the assembly line of your future. Some thoughts build your faith, others weaken it. Some thoughts create opportunities, others destroy them before they ever appear. The question is not whether your mind is working, it is always working. The question is, what is it producing? Is it building a destiny filled with strength, joy, and purpose, or one shaped by fear, doubt, and limitation? Many people think destiny is controlled by luck or by what others decide for them. But destiny is not something that happens to you. It is something that grows out of you. You carry it inside your mind. That is why two people can face the same obstacle, yet one rises while the other falls. The difference is not in their circumstances, but in their thinking. One sees failure as final, the other sees it as feedback. One thinks, I can't do it, while the other says, I'll find a way. The mind becomes the deciding factory. It decides the pattern of your life long before the world ever sees it. Your imagination is the design room of that factory. When you close your eyes and begin to picture the kind of person you want to become, the kind of life you want to live, the kind of impact you want to make, you are shaping your blueprint. The more vivid and consistent that picture becomes, the faster your mind begins to produce the actions, attitudes, and energy that turn it into reality. That is why you must protect your imagination. Do not allow fear to design your blueprint. Do not allow past pain to limit your design. Fill your inner world with thoughts of possibility, creativity, and vision. But a factory cannot run without order. If the workers are undisciplined, the output becomes messy and wasted. The same goes for your mind. If you let random, anxious, or negative thoughts run freely, your inner factory will produce confusion, frustration, and stagnation. But if you train your mind, if you take charge of what you think and how you think, you begin to produce clarity, wisdom, and progress. The discipline of thinking correctly is the difference between drifting through life and directing your life. There is tremendous creative power in focused thought. When your mind holds a single idea with faith, it begins to attract the right resources and open the right doors. You start noticing opportunities that were always there but hidden by distraction. You start making decisions that align with your goals. The invisible becomes visible, and what was once a dream begins to take form. This is not luck. It is the law of thought in action. So take a moment and ask yourself, what kind of thoughts are being produced in the factory of your mind today? Are they thoughts of gratitude and growth, or thoughts of worry and defeat? Whatever you produce consistently will eventually fill the warehouse of your life. Change the design, and you change the output. Your mind was never meant to be a dumping ground for fear. It was meant to be a creative factory for destiny. So clean the machinery, clear out the old patterns, oil it with faith and vision, and begin to produce the kind of thoughts that will build the future you were created to live. Because your mind, and only your mind, is the true factory of your destiny, renew your inner picture. Everything you see in your outer life is a reflection of the picture that lives inside your mind. The world around you does not change until the image within you does. You can pray, you can wish, you can work endlessly, but if the picture in your heart remains small, limited, or broken, your life will continue to reproduce that same image again and again. The secret to transformation lies not in changing your surroundings first, but in renewing the vision within you. Every human being lives according to an invisible photograph inside their imagination. It is the picture of who they believe they are, what they think they deserve, and what they expect from life. Some people carry a picture of defeat. They see themselves as failures, unworthy of success or love. Others carry a picture of hope and strength. They see themselves rising above obstacles. becoming better each day, touching lives around them. The difference is not in circumstances, but in inner imagery. The one who renews his inner picture renews his life. If your inner picture is filled with painful memories, self-doubt, or the opinions of others, you will always struggle to move forward. You cannot build a new future while still staring at an old portrait. Renewal begins when you dare to repaint the walls of your mind. It takes courage to say, "Yes, I failed before, but that's not who I am now. I am growing. I am stronger. I am wiser." When you begin to form that new image inside, your emotions follow, your words follow, and your actions begin to align with that new vision. Imagine your mind as a canvas. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every belief you hold is a brushstroke. Over time, those strokes create a picture. If that picture is dark with fear, your world feels heavy and limited. But if it's painted with faith, gratitude, and purpose, your world begins to shine with opportunity. You are the artist of your life, and your inner vision is the paint that colors your reality. Renewing your inner picture does not mean ignoring reality. It means creating a higher one. It means refusing to let the temporary define the permanent. You may be struggling now, but see yourself as someone rising through it. You may be in a small place, but see yourself growing beyond it. When the picture within changes, the energy around you changes. People begin to respond differently. Doors begin to open. Circumstances begin to rearrange themselves to match the new image you carry inside. Too many people wait for something outside to shift before they believe change is possible, but that is backward thinking. The moment you renew your inner picture, the outer world begins to adjust itself. It's as if the universe itself bends to match your new vision. Your mind and life are connected through a divine principle. The picture you hold in your mind is a silent command to life about what to create next. So take time each day to close your eyes and see yourself as you want to be, not as you are right now. See yourself healed, confident, and full of purpose. See yourself walking in peace, living with joy, giving with abundance. Let that image sink deep into your heart until it feels more real than your current situation. Because when that happens, life has no choice but to rise to meet it. Renew your inner picture continually. Let it grow larger, brighter, and stronger with every experience. Don't let the shadows of the past stain the masterpiece of your future. Keep painting with faith, with hope, and with vision, for the picture you hold inside today will become the life you live tomorrow. You cannot live a positive life with a negative mind. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you wish for better days, if your thoughts remain filled with fear, doubt, jealousy, or bitterness, your life will always reflect that inner darkness. Life is not determined by what happens around you, but by what happens within you. Your inner world shapes your outer world. A mind that constantly feeds on negativity cannot produce peace, joy, or growth. It can only reproduce more of what it holds. Negativity is like poison. It begins subtly with small complaints, quiet resentments, or whispers of fear. But over time it spreads, contaminating your emotions, your attitude, and even your relationships. It clouds your vision and blinds you to the opportunities that surround you. When your mind is negative, everything looks difficult, every problem feels bigger, and every person seems to stand in your way. You start to believe that life is unfair, that success belongs to others, and that your best days are behind you. But none of that is true. It is simply the echo of a negative mind projecting false limitations. You see, the world does not respond to what you want, it responds to what you think. If your thoughts are full of lack, life will mirror scarcity. If your thoughts are full of bitterness, life will return the same energy. That is why so many people find themselves trapped in cycles of frustration. They want change, but they keep watering the same old weeds. You can't build a joyful home with bricks of anger. You can't create abundance with thoughts of envy. You can't expect harmony when your inner dialogue is filled with complaint. A negative mind will always find a reason to quit, even when opportunity knocks. It will always focus on what's missing instead of what's possible. It will look at a seed and see only dirt, not the potential for a forest. It will look at a storm and see only destruction, not the cleansing power that makes way for new growth. That is why you must learn to guard your thoughts like a gatekeeper guards a treasure. Because your mind is that treasure, it determines everything you attract, everything you notice, and everything you become. To reject negative thought patterns, you must become aware of them. The moment you catch yourself thinking, "I can't," "it's too hard," or "nothing ever works for me," stop and question that thought. Where did it come from? Who told you that? Often, negative thinking is not even your own. It's borrowed from someone else's fear or failure. You don't have to keep carrying it. Replace it with a thought that builds rather than breaks. I can learn. I am growing. This challenge will make me stronger. It may not change your circumstances overnight, but it will change your direction, and direction is destiny. Choosing positive thinking is not pretending that pain doesn't exist. It is deciding that pain will not have the final word. It is choosing to see light even when darkness surrounds you. It is saying, "I refuse to be controlled by what I can't control." Every time you replace a negative thought with one of faith, gratitude, or courage, you rewire your mind for victory. And when your thinking shifts, your emotions, habits, and life begin to follow. You were not created to live under the weight of negativity. You were made to rise, to create, to bring light. But you cannot climb upward while carrying the heavy stones of fear and complaint. Let them go. Begin today to think thoughts that lift you, empower you, and remind you of what's possible. When you clear your mind of negativity, you make room for wisdom, joy, and peace to enter. And only then will you truly begin to live a positive, powerful life, because you have chosen to free your mind from the grip of negativity. Thinking correctly is not merely about being positive. It is about thinking in harmony with faith, hope, and vision. Many people confuse positive thinking with correct thinking, but there is a deep difference. Positive thinking says everything will be fine, even when there is no foundation for it. Correct thinking says, "I will make things fine because I believe, I hope, and I see the future clearly." Correct thinking is guided by faith in what cannot yet be seen, hope in what is coming, and vision for what is possible. It is not built on empty optimism, it is built on conviction. Faith gives direction to your mind. It allows you to see beyond what your eyes can see. When your thoughts are rooted in faith, you no longer focus on your limitations, you focus on your possibilities. You stop asking, "Can I?" and start declaring, "I will." A faith-filled thinking transforms obstacles into opportunities. It doesn't ignore the mountain in front of you, but it believes there is a way over it, through it, or around it. Faith takes what seems impossible and makes it a challenge worth conquering. Hope gives strength to your thoughts. Without hope, even the best ideas die before they are born. Hope whispers, "Tomorrow can be better." When today feels heavy, it fuels endurance. It keeps your inner fire alive. When you lose hope, your thoughts turn cold and your dreams fade into silence. But when you fill your mind with hope, you attract light even in dark seasons. You start to see solutions where you once saw walls. Hope gives your thoughts energy to move forward when everything around you says to stop. Vision gives shape to your faith and hope. It paints the picture of what could be. Vision is the blueprint that your thoughts begin to build upon. A person without vision will wander through life, reacting instead of creating. But a person with vision will wake each morning with direction and clarity. Vision organizes your thoughts. It filters out what doesn't matter and focuses your energy on what does. When your mind is aligned with vision, your thoughts stop being random. They become creative tools of purpose. Thinking in harmony with faith, hope, and vision creates balance in your inner world. Faith without vision can become blind. Hope without faith can become weak. Vision without hope can become cold and mechanical. But when all three work together, your thoughts become powerful enough to move you through any circumstance. Your inner dialogue becomes a place of strength rather than confusion. You stop allowing fear to control the narrative of your life because your thoughts are tuned to a higher frequency, a frequency of purpose. Correct thinking requires discipline. It is easy to slip into worry, comparison, and doubt. The world around you constantly feeds your mind with negativity, urging you to think small and settle for less. But you must train your mind to think above the noise. Fill your thoughts with truth instead of fear, gratitude instead of complaint, and possibilities instead of problems. The more you practice this alignment, the more natural it becomes. Correct thinking is not a momentary decision, it is a daily habit. A mind that thinks in harmony with faith, hope, and vision becomes unstoppable. It does not crumble under pressure because it knows that every difficulty is temporary. It does not envy others because it understands that everyone's journey is different. It does not live in regret because it knows that every day is another opportunity to grow. Such a mind becomes like a lighthouse in the storm, steady, clear, and full of light. When your thoughts flow with faith, you walk with confidence. When they flow with hope, you move with courage. When they flow with vision, you live with purpose. And when all three unite, your life begins to move in divine rhythm. Everything inside you and around you starts to align with that inner harmony. You begin to see what others cannot see and believe what others cannot believe. That is the true power of thinking correctly, in harmony with faith, hope, and vision. Your words give power to your thoughts. Declare what you want to see. Every thought you hold inside your mind is like a seed, but it is your words that water that seed and cause it to grow. What you constantly speak begins to shape the atmosphere around you. Your words are not just sounds, they are creative forces. When you speak, you are giving life or death to the ideas forming in your mind. That is why what you say every day matters far more than you think. If your thoughts are the blueprint of your destiny, then your words are the builders. Many people sabotage their own future with careless words. They dream of success but speak defeat. They pray for peace but complain with their lips. They hope for healing but continually confess weakness. Every time they speak negatively, they are pulling down the very thing they desire to build. You cannot plant words of fear and reap a harvest of faith. You cannot keep saying, "Nothing ever works out for me," and then expect things to turn around. Life listens to your language. The world around you responds to the tone of your declarations. Words shape your reality because they reinforce your beliefs. When you speak something long enough, your mind begins to accept it as truth. This is why affirmations and declarations are powerful. They are not empty sentences, but training for your inner world. When you say, "I am capable, I am strong, I am growing," your subconscious begins to align with those words. It starts producing thoughts, emotions, and actions that match them. Over time, your external life begins to reflect your inner confession. In the same way, words of fear and doubt build invisible walls. Every "I can't," every "it's impossible," every "I'll never make it" adds another brick to the fortress of limitation. Soon, the walls become so high that even when opportunities appear, you can't see them because your own words have blocked the view. That is why you must be intentional about what you allow to come out of your mouth. Your tongue can either be a weapon that destroys or a tool that builds. You don't have to wait until your situation changes to start speaking differently. Speak life while you are still in the valley. Speak strength when you feel weak. Speak abundance when your wallet is empty. This is not denial, it is direction. You are directing your life toward what you want to see rather than what you currently see. Words of faith have the power to shift your perspective and attract the solutions you need. They stir your spirit, strengthen your resolve, and invite unseen possibilities to take form. When you begin to speak what you want to see, something remarkable happens inside you. Your confidence grows, your energy rises, your vision becomes clearer. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming a participant in creation. You realize that you are not helpless, you are powerful because your words carry life. You begin to understand that every great change starts with a spoken declaration, a decision voiced with conviction. But remember, speaking with power is not about empty repetition, it's about alignment. Your words must come from a heart that believes what it says. If your mouth declares one thing, but your heart believes another, your words lose their authority. True power comes when your thoughts, your beliefs, and your words agree. When all three align, nothing can stand in your way. So guard your speech as you guard your mind. Stop using words carelessly or in jest that tear down your spirit. Speak with intention. Let your mouth become an instrument of creation, not destruction. Choose words that lift, that encourage, that move you forward. When you wake up each day, declare who you are and where you're going. Say it with faith, say it with hope, say it with vision. Because the moment your words begin to agree with your purpose, your life will begin to manifest it. Speak what you want to see, and soon you will see what you have spoken. Your imagination is the womb of creation. What you continually picture, you eventually produce. Every great invention, every achievement, every transformation begins first as an image in the mind. Before anything becomes visible, it must first exist invisibly within. The thoughts you entertain and the images you allow to stay in your imagination are shaping your destiny, moment by moment. You cannot create what you cannot see. The picture you carry inside you is the prophecy of your future. The imagination is not a toy for daydreamers. It is a divine tool for builders. It was given to you so you could design the life you desire long before it appears. When you close your eyes and envision yourself rising, growing, and becoming, you are not pretending, you are programming your mind. You are sending instructions to your subconscious, telling it where to lead you. Every time you visualize with faith, you are writing the blueprint of your future. Most people live by what they see with their eyes, but visionaries live by what they see with their minds. The eyes can only see what is, but imagination sees what can be. Your current reality may look small, limited, or even painful, but within your imagination there is no limit. There, you can travel beyond circumstance, beyond fear, beyond logic. There, you can begin to see yourself whole, strong, successful, and fulfilled. And when that image becomes fixed within you, your outer life begins to adjust to match it. But imagination must be disciplined. An uncontrolled imagination can just as easily build prisons as it can build palaces. If you keep imagining failure, your life will drift toward it. If you continually replay scenes of rejection, betrayal, or defeat, your mind will believe that is the only possible outcome. You will begin to act, speak, and make decisions consistent with that inner movie. That is why it is vital to take charge of what plays inside your imagination. Only you hold the remote control. You can decide what to delete, what to pause, and what to replay. Start seeing yourself differently. See yourself calm where you used to be anxious. See yourself courageous where you once were afraid. See yourself free where you once felt trapped. Your imagination is the first canvas where change begins. The more you return to that picture and feed it with faith, the more power it gathers. Eventually, what was once just an inner vision becomes an outer reality. You are already using your imagination every day, whether you realize it or not. Every time you worry, you are imagining a negative future. Every time you doubt, you are picturing failure. But every time you believe, every time you envision good things coming, you are creating light in advance. The question is not whether you have imagination, but whether you are using it to create or to destroy. Train your imagination to serve your purpose. Let faith paint its images, not fear. Let vision, not worry, design your future. Picture the person you want to become and hold that image until it feels real. Talk like that person. Walk like that person. Think like that person. The outer world will eventually follow the inner script. Your imagination is the bridge between your present and your potential. It connects where you are to where you are meant to be. Treat it with reverence. Fill it with beauty, hope, and purpose. Because whatever you continually imagine with faith and conviction will one day step out of your mind and into your life. You will live what you have pictured because your imagination is the womb of creation. The battle of life is first won in the mind before it is ever won in the world. Every challenge you face, every obstacle that stands before you, begins as a battle between your thoughts. Before victory ever shows up in your circumstances, it must first take root inside you. The mind is the battlefield where success or failure is decided long before the world ever sees the result. If you win in your thoughts, no force outside you can keep you from your destiny. But if you lose within, no amount of help from others can rescue you. Each day, countless thoughts pass through your mind, some filled with faith, others filled with fear. One whispers, "You can rise," while another murmurs, "You'll never make it." The one you choose to believe becomes your reality. That's why so many people remain trapped. They are fighting the wrong war. They wrestle with circumstances, they argue with people, they try to change everything around them, yet they never conquer the battlefield within. True transformation begins the moment you stop blaming what's outside and start renewing what's inside. The world will always test you. Disappointments, delays, criticism, and loss will visit everyone. But the difference between those who rise and those who remain broken lies in their mental response. A person who has mastered his mind can face storms without losing peace. When the outer world shakes, the inner world stays still. Because victory has already been declared inside, no amount of chaos outside can destroy it. When fear attacks, when doubt whispers, when failure tries to define you, remember this truth. You decide the outcome of that inner battle. You decide which thoughts are allowed to stay and which must be cast out. If you feed the thoughts of defeat, they will grow stronger. But if you feed the thoughts of courage and faith, they will multiply until fear has no place left to live. Your victory begins when you choose which army you will strengthen, the army of faith or the army of fear. The great tragedy of life is not the battles we face, but the battles we never fight within ourselves. Many people surrender before they even start because they've already lost in their imagination. They see themselves failing, so they never try. They imagine rejection, so they never ask. They visualize defeat, so they never step forward. But when you renew your mind, when you replace the image of defeat with one of victory, everything begins to shift. Suddenly, doors open, ideas flow, and strength returns. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. You must understand that your mind sets the limits of your life. Every time you think a thought of faith, you are expanding those limits. Every time you allow fear to dominate, you are tightening them. The person who conquers his mind becomes unstoppable, because no external event can shake the foundation built on inner victory. The storms may come, but his mind remains anchored in peace. The winds may blow, but his vision stays clear. So train your mind like a warrior prepares for battle. Fill it daily with words of truth, faith, and hope. Do not let negative voices take command of your inner army. Guard your thoughts as if your life depends on them, because it does. Every thought you accept is either strengthening your defense or weakening it. You cannot always choose your circumstances, but you can always choose your mindset. The greatest victories are not won in crowds or on stages. They are won in silence, in solitude, within the walls of your own mind. When you win there, every outer victory becomes inevitable. So rise each morning ready not just to face the world, but to conquer the only battlefield that truly matters, the one within you. Because when you win in your mind, you have already won the world.